recently had the chance to spend 2 weeks on the Isles of Lewis and Harris in the Outer Hebrides in Scotland, this time with my furry friend alongside me. We were able to explore the stunning coastal roads, the beautiful, vast beaches, as well as do a little bit of drawing and even some surfing. I'm here to show you for the first time what a full day looks like in my camper van, Skye.
I've been waiting for the moment to arrive. Come stand with me down under the stars at night. Come look with me from where I stand. You can see most everything. And I've been waiting for the moment to arrive. I was waiting for the moment to arrive. I was waiting for the moment to arrive. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
After a slow morning reading in bed and taking Douglas out for a little walk, the next step in my morning routine is to make the bed and then put the kettle on.
But it's time I thought about it, and you feel the pull of the ocean side in the fall. There's a cool wind coming down, and we were waiting for the moment to arrive, waiting for the moment to arrive. We were waiting for the moment to arrive.
And then, once I've managed to find some clean clothes to wear in the organised chaos that is my clothes storage, I move on to getting freshened up for the day. I keep my routine pretty simple. The first thing I use is some biodegradable face wipes, which I find really handy. I use this sun cream every single day of the year, whether I'm travelling or at home. It's really great. Just normal aqueous cream that I put into another pot, and some cetirizine. The midges and mozzies have actually been okay this trip, but if they're out there, I will get bitten. I already have a few bites, and this just means that I don't even have to think about it. For the first time, I'm giving Avon Skin So Soft a try for its mozzie repellent properties. It's not been long enough for me to say whether or not it's helped yet, but I'm looking forward to it because it does feel quite nice on my skin. So now it's time to put all this on and finish getting ready. I really wish I could say that I was organised enough to do all of my washing up in the evening before going to bed, but inevitably there's always something I need to do. But once that's all away, then we reward ourselves with a nice long walk.
Sometimes the wind blows in the right direction, when it's pushing you towards the sunset like a ghost. And I know that you'll learn to love the lesson, that some things you have to find out on your own.
Morning everyone. We've just got back from our walk, and before we get settled down to do a bit of painting, I just need to take Skye for a little drive. I'm having a bit of problems with her electrics at the moment. I think it's a combination of things. I think it's a combination of the cloud not charging my solar panels, but also I think my batteries are coming towards the end of their life and so aren't fully charging each time, so they're discharging really quickly. So fortunately I have my split charge relay, so whenever my engine is running and my engine battery is fully charged, it then sends the power to my leisure batteries and tops them up. So I'm going to go for a little drive, which is a chance for me to show you the roads of Lewis and Harris anyway, find somewhere else to go and have a little walk with Dougie, empty some of my rubbish, and then I'll come back to the same spot and we'll settle down for the afternoon and the rest of the morning. I mean, it's only, what time is it? 8:45 in the morning. We will settle down for the rest of the day. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy the drive.
It's time to go discover the world. It's time to go discover the world. I can hear the future buzzing like an engine, roaring out in the distance past the trees. You don't need to sit and watch the snow melt. The water always runs into the sea. It's time to go discover the world. It's time.
As we roll back into our home, I just take a few minutes to do a little bit of cleaning, a job that never ends when you're living in a camper van by the beach with all the sand, before finally being able to sit down and make a little bit of breakfast. So I just finished breakfast and I thought I would tell you a little bit about my thoughts going into the day as I procrastinate doing the washing up. So the hope is that today I'll do some drawing in preparation for a painting that I'm working on at the moment. The slight problem is that I left a fair amount of my drawing materials at home. The week before I left to come up here, I had a really busy week. I was working all week and then I was teaching a workshop on the Sunday. So I was preparing for that, and then I left
for Lewis and Harris on the Sunday evening. So I was packing Skye and preparing for the workshop at the same time, and yeah, it was inevitable that I was going to forget something. So what I've forgotten is my drawing paper and my tracing paper. I've got everything else that I need. When I arrived on Lewis and Harris, I had a little search around the shops to see if I could find a replacement, but I couldn't. I then got a little bit panicked and I did an Amazon order. It completely blows my mind that I can do an Amazon order when I'm in a camper van on Lewis and Harris, and essentially it comes immediately. I mean, it's going to take 5 days to arrive, and I had to order A4 sheets so they would fit into an Amazon locker. But yeah, so that was a little panic purchase before I'd actually had time to think and make a plan. I then remembered that there was a Tesco in Stornoway, and which is the capital of Lewis, and so I did manage to find something. I found some printer paper, so we'll give that a go for the time being. I'm all for trying to make do with what you've got, so yeah. So that's the hope for today. I have found myself though putting a lot of pressure on myself since arriving here. A lot of shoulds in my head. I should be painting, I should be drawing, I should be relaxing, I should be reading, I should not be putting so much pressure on myself. And normally when I come away in Skye, I can switch off quite easily and quite quickly, but for some reason it's taking me a little bit of time this time. And so what I do when my brain's in overdrive is I just sit and I do a little bit of writing, a little bit of journaling. I don't have a regular journaling practice, but when my thoughts are a bit overwhelming, or I just feel like I've got a lot of different thoughts in my head that I want to look at objectively, I find writing them down really, really helpful. I also do it when I'm feeling good and feeling positive about things, as a way of reinforcing how I'm feeling and kind of identifying how I got to that place. So anyway, I digress. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time doing some journaling and try and change my shoulds into coulds. So rather than saying to myself I should be drawing, it's I could be drawing. I could be drawing if I want to be drawing. I could be out there surfing if I wanted to be surfing. I could be reading, I could be relaxing, I could be doing nothing, all based around what I feel my body needs, my mind needs and wants. So yes, time to do a little bit of journaling and then see what comes from that.
After I'd collected my thoughts on paper, I decided it was time to do a little bit of drawing. The plant that I've got in front of me at the moment, and the plant that I have carried around with me for this whole trip, is Pelargonium graveolens. I'm studying this plant as part of a project I'm doing for the hospice that I work at. What you can see me doing here is just my initial drawings. I'm drawing from life and trying to represent the plant as accurately as I possibly can. Once I'm happy with the drawing that I've done, what you can see here is that I'm going over that drawing with a fine ink pen. Those of you who've watched me draw and paint before, you know that this isn't my normal technique. Normally I like to do a tracing at this stage in order to then plan my composition. But I have another little plan that might work instead, so this is what I'm doing now. And then essentially I'm repeating the process. Normally when I've got a plant in front of me, such as this pelargonium, I will be trying to draw the plant as it stands, but I obviously have the limitations of my paper, and so I am breaking it down leaf by leaf, and then I'm going to essentially rebuild the pelargonium onto my watercolour paper. After a couple of hours of drawing, my tummy's starting to rumble and I'm also feeling the need to stretch my legs. So I packed up a little picnic and Douglas and I headed off for a little walk. And as the wind started to blow and the soft rain began to fall, we headed back to the van. And I swiftly made a hot cup of tea and some toasted crumpets. And just starting to think about whether or not those waves out there were looking ready to surf. First though, I wanted to spend a little bit more time on my drawings. By cutting out these individual drawings, my hope was that I'd be able to visualise a composition more easily. I must say this was of some help, but I must admit that I am looking forward to getting hold of my tracing paper in a couple of days' time. So as afternoon slowly became evening, I couldn't keep my eye off that surf. Although it wasn't brilliant, I knew it wasn't going to get any better, so I started to get ready to dive in. Once I was warm and dry, I sat down for a few minutes with my book and had a little snack. I didn't feel like much to eat for dinner, so a little bit of hummus and a cup of tea later on with my walk will be all I need. So Douglas and I are just on our evening walk. It's become a bit of a lockdown habit for us. Well, not for me and Douglas, but for me, going for a walk in the evening with a cup of tea. It's just a nice way, I find, to wind down and just signify that the day's over and close the stress cycle, as it were. Not that today's been a very stressful day. It's been a lovely day, and it was a really nice surprise to be able to get out and do a bit of surfing. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to necessarily today, but there were just a few waves and it just all became too tempting. So yeah, we're gonna head back to the van, get the bed all set up and get cosy for the evening. And yeah, here's to a quiet night's sleep and moving on tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to move on from Lewis and head down to Harris, where supposedly there are some of the most spectacular beaches and one of the top 10 beaches in the world. Hard to imagine looking at this beach right now that there can be anything much better, but we shall see. And there's hope maybe for a little bit of sunshine too over the next few days. So yeah, anyway, thanks for joining me along on a day in the life. I've never really done that before, but hope it was interesting, and I'll talk to you soon.